You think she picked you because of your looks. Maybe you believe it was your sense of humor or the way you carried yourself that night. You're wrong. What really happened was far more complex and entirely outside your conscious control. She didn't fall for the version of you that you presented to the world. She fell for something she saw buried underneath everything you were trying to be. And if you don't recognize what that invisible force actually is, you'll watch every relationship follow the same painful trajectory. Intense passion that gradually fades into silence, confusion, and eventually nothing at all. This isn't about learning better conversation techniques or dressing differently. This has nothing to do with being more romantic or figuring out the perfect text message timing. What I'm about to show you goes deeper than anything you've been taught about attraction. Most of what you believe about why women choose certain men is based on comfortable lies. Society has fed you a sanitized version of romance that sounds nice but completely ignores how human psychology actually operates. You've been told to just be a good person, stay available, show interest, and everything will work out. That advice has left you wondering why nothing ever does. When a woman becomes genuinely captivated by you, when she can't stop thinking about you even when you're not around, something ancient and primal is being activated in her mind. It's not random and it's not luck. There's a specific psychological mechanism at work, and most men never learn how it functions. They stumble into relationships without understanding the forces beneath the surface, which means they have no idea how to maintain what they accidentally created. Then they're blindsided when everything falls apart. I'm going to walk you through the 3 psychological realities that make a woman feel deeply connected to a man, not the Disney version. Not what sounds polite in public conversation. The actual subconscious drivers that control her emotions and shape her choices. Pay attention because understanding this changes everything. You represent what she's abandoned in herself. Every woman you meet is carrying invisible weight. Beneath whatever role she plays publicly, whether she's the successful career woman, the social butterfly, or the tough independent type, there's a hidden part of her that's exhausted. Modern life demands that women maintain a constant state of alertness. They're expected to be productive, emotionally intelligent, socially aware, and always in control. This creates a chronic state of internal tension that never fully releases. Over time, she learns to suppress the parts of herself that don't fit the image she's supposed to maintain. She buries her need for rest, her desire to let go, and her longing to stop managing every detail. Then you enter her world with something she hasn't encountered in a long time. Genuine calm. Not the fake confidence that comes from trying to impress people. Not the performance of strength that crumbles under pressure. Real, unshakable steadiness that doesn't require external validation. When she experiences this, something shifts in her nervous system. Around you, she notices that her breathing slows down. The mental noise that normally runs constantly in the background starts to quiet. For the first time in months, maybe years, she feels like she doesn't have to be on guard. This is why the common dating advice misses the point entirely. Attraction at this level has almost nothing to do with what car you drive or how much money you make. Those things might catch initial attention, but they don't create the deep pull she feels when she's genuinely falling for someone. What her subconscious is actually measuring is something completely different. It's asking a question she doesn't even realize she's asking. Who do I become when I'm with this person? If she spent years being the one who holds everything together, your presence offers her a rare experience. She gets to stop performing. She doesn't have to anticipate problems, manage emotions, or stay 2 steps ahead of disaster. Your calm presence acts like a counterweight to her constant internal motion. You represent the part of herself she had to sacrifice to function in the world, the ability to simply exist without constantly doing. That contrast is magnetic on a level that bypasses logic completely. But here's where most men destroy everything without realizing it. When a woman starts leaning on your stability, there's a dangerous trap waiting. If she hasn't done her own internal work, if she's still running from unresolved pain or unhealed wounds, she won't attach to you out of love. She'll attach out of need. She'll stop seeing you as a complete human being and start seeing you as a solution to her internal chaos. You become the thing that keeps her balanced. And the moment you accept that role, you lose yourself. Once you become her emotional stabilizer, you're no longer allowed to have bad days. You can't show doubt, exhaustion, or vulnerability because your job is to be the steady one. If your stability wavers even slightly, the entire dynamic collapses and she'll resent you for it. You'll find yourself trapped in a silent contract where your strength is constantly being drained to keep her afloat. She feels safe only when you're present. She feels calm only when you're holding things together. And slowly, the very quality she admired becomes the cage that suffocates both of you. Your responsibility is not to fix her. It's not to complete her missing pieces or shield her from the reality of her own unresolved issues. Your only job is to remain whole. That means keeping clear boundaries, staying connected to your own purpose, and never compromising your truth just to keep her comfortable. Real integrity in a relationship isn't harsh. It's the deepest form of respect. When you refuse to play savior, you give her room to face herself and grow on her own terms. Stay grounded in who you are. A man who mirrors a woman's missing self without trying to rescue her offers something far more valuable than temporary comfort. He offers her a chance at real connection. You align with her invisible ideal. Every woman carries a hidden blueprint. It's not something she consciously designed or could easily describe if you asked her directly. This blueprint was built slowly, over years, through emotional experiences that left lasting imprints. The way her father spoke to her when she was young, the moments she felt protected or the moments she felt abandoned, the tone of voice that made her feel safe or the silence that made her feel invisible. Every interaction with male figures throughout her childhood, every story she absorbed, every movie that moved her, all of these fragments combined over time to create an unconscious image of the man who represents safety, strength, and emotional fulfillment. Then one day she meets you and something fires in her mind before she can even process what's happening. It's not because you said something perfect. It's because something about your core presence matches that buried image. Maybe it's the way you speak without rushing. Maybe it's the way you hold eye contact without looking away. Maybe it's your comfort with silence or your refusal to seek approval. Whatever it is, her nervous system recognizes it instantly. She feels an overwhelming sense of familiarity, like she's known you before even though you just met. Because she can't explain this logically, she reaches for romantic language, destiny, soulmate, fate, undeniable chemistry, but what's actually happening is projection. She's taking a lifetime of unmet emotional needs and casting you as the answer. You're being placed into a role that was written long before you arrived. This feels incredible at first. Being seen as someone's ideal is powerful. Having a woman look at you like you're exactly what she's been searching for feeds the ego in a way few things can. But you need to understand what's beneath that gaze. The pedestal isn't a position of honor, it's a trap. Once she falls in love with an idealized version of you, you're no longer free to be human. You're expected to live up to a character she created in her mind. The moment you display normal human traits, frustration, tiredness, uncertainty, boundaries that conflict with what she wants, the fantasy starts to crack. She doesn't fall out of love with you. She falls out of love with the role you were playing. Any deviation from the script feels like betrayal to her, even though you never agreed to play the part. This is where most men fail. They feel her pulling away and panic. Instead of standing firm, they twist themselves into shapes trying to keep the illusion alive. They become performers in their own lives. They monitor their words, suppress their real opinions, hide their frustrations, and erase their boundaries just to stay inside her fantasy. But here's the brutal truth. Every time you sacrifice your authenticity to protect her illusion, you kill her respect for you. A woman might want the fantasy, but her instincts will detect a man who's pretending. The moment she senses you're acting to keep her happy, attraction dies. This is where your grounding becomes essential. You can't control how someone perceives you. You weren't put here to fix someone else's childhood wounds. You're a real person with boundaries, principles, and flaws. You're not an actor hired to play a comforting role in someone else's unresolved pain. When you step out of her fantasy and stand in reality, you reveal the true foundation of what you have. If she was only attached to the dream, she'll panic. She'll say you've changed. She'll pull away the moment the mask drops. When that happens, don't chase, don't explain, don't apologize for being real. Let her go. A real connection can only begin when the illusion dies. When you stop trying to be someone's dream and become a man rooted in truth, that's when real respect is born, and that respect is the only foundation worth building on. You force her to confront herself. When a woman encounters a man who operates with complete emotional independence, it disrupts everything she's used to. Most of her life, she's been able to navigate interactions through charm, emotional leverage, mood shifts, or subtle manipulation. Most men respond predictably. They bend when she pushes, they react when she creates tension, they try to fix things when she creates distance. But when you show up with absolute calm, refusing to be moved by emotional games or unnecessary drama, her entire approach stops working. Your presence forces her out of performance mode and into raw honesty. Real inner strength isn't about being cold or emotionally distant. It's about self-control, clarity, and independence. When her usual tactics, the silent treatment, the sudden mood swings, the subtle guilt trips, fail to shake your center, she experiences something rare. A man whose peace doesn't depend on her approval. For the first time, she realizes she can't control the dynamic. She can't steer your emotions through chaos. That realization strips away her defenses and forces a choice. She either grows to meet you at a higher level of maturity, or she retreats back into familiar patterns. Growth is painful. It requires ego death and brutal self-honesty. That's why many women will resist it at first. When a woman feels her usual methods failing, she may escalate. She'll start arguments over nothing. She'll create dramatic situations. She'll suddenly go cold and distant, understand what's actually happening. She's not trying to destroy the relationship. She's trying to pull you back into the chaos where she knows how to operate. She wants you to snap, defend yourself, or beg for her attention. Because when you do, she regains control. When you remain completely calm in the middle of her storm, neither attacking nor collapsing, you become a mirror. Your stillness reflects her chaos back at her. She's forced to see her own patterns, her manipulation, her emotional shortcuts, all of it. If she has the strength and maturity for a real relationship, your refusal to play games will wake her up. She'll drop the act, soften the walls, and meet you as an equal. But if her identity is built on control and unresolved drama, your clarity will terrify her. She'll feel exposed, and she'll run towards someone easier to manage. Someone who will feed her ego and validate her chaos. Never shrink yourself to make an insecure woman comfortable. Your job isn't to cling to every person who enters your life. Your job isn't to lower yourself, so she feels safe staying small. Your only responsibility is to stay anchored in your principles. Maintain your presence. Let your truth separate those ready to grow from those who belong in your past. Here's what all of this comes down to. Attraction isn't random. It's not about luck or perfect timing. It's about deep psychological forces that most people never learn to recognize. When a woman falls for you, she's responding to something far more complex than surface traits. She's reacting to what you represent in her internal world, the calm she's lost, the ideal she's imagined, the growth she's avoided. And if you don't understand these forces, you'll keep repeating the same painful cycles without knowing why. But when you do understand, when you see the machinery beneath the surface, everything changes. You stop trying to be what you think she wants and start being what you actually are. You stop bending yourself into shapes to maintain her illusion. You stop accepting the role of emotional savior. You stand firm in your own truth and let that truth do the work. Some women will walk away. Let them. The ones who stay will be the ones capable of meeting you in reality, not fantasy. And that's where real connection lives. Not in the illusion, not in the performance, in the raw, honest space where two people see each other clearly and choose to stay anyway.